Hello, I'm Joanne Moore, and I'm the director of the Duxbury Senior Center, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of Senior Safety. Senior Safety is a collaborative effort between the Duxbury Senior Center, the Plymouth Center for Active Living, the Kingston Council on Aging, the Pembroke Council on Aging, District Attorney Tim Cruz, Sheriff Joe McDonnell, and PAC TV. It was created to bring valuable information to our seniors during the pandemic. The topic of today's episode is phishing scams and the unemployment scam that is currently going around. Our guest for this segment is Plymouth County District Attorney Tim Cruz, Marie Keefe, and Candy Weiler. Welcome to all of you, and a special welcome to District Attorney Tim Cruz.
Hi, Joanne. Hi, Candy. Hi, Marie. It's great to be back. It's great to be back on our senior hearings that we're doing now, it's been tremendous all throughout our county. We've been doing that, and I think it's been very successful. And I think people are getting a lot of good tips as to what's going on. So, for those of you that haven't turned in before, and those of you that don't know me, my name's Tim Cruz, and I am the Plymouth County DA. And as usual, here we are. We're dealing with our unprecedented times of dealing with the issues that are going on here during COVID-19 and all the things that come along with it. And we also have, to continue to deal with the continued scams that are going on, the cyber crimes that are going on, all the misinformation, all the fear that comes out of, the COVID-19 pandemic. The FBI IC3 Internet Crime Complaint Center has reported that in 2019, there were $57 million were lost to phishing scams. And even though it saddens me that there are people out there who will basically take advantage of a terrible situation like the pandemic and try to steal people, not just their money directly, but also their personal and their financial information. So while we're all trying to stay healthy, we're all trying to stay safe, we're also have to make sure that we protect the information that we have on our phones and on our computers, especially when we're online.
District Attorney Cruz, good morning.
Good morning.
Could you tell us what a phishing scam is and how long these types of scams have been around?
Sure, Marie. For those of you that don't know what a phishing scam is, first and foremost, it is phishing with a PH, not with an F. And it is a broad term for any type of online scam where criminals can send an email or a text message to people which appears to be from a legitimate company. Usually the scam will involve something that's going to be alarming, that's going to startle you, that's going to make you do something maybe you normally wouldn't do, so that you're going to follow their instructions and potentially provide sensitive information, personal and financial, to these individuals. Most of the times, these emails are going to have malware incorporated into them, and it's going to have misleading and false links also assigned to it. So the phishing scams themselves have been around since the 90s, when a group of individuals, once again, the scammers are thieves, but they're not stupid. They created an algorithm to generate credit card numbers in order to create fake AOL accounts. These fake AOL accounts were used to spam legitimate AOL accounts in an attempt to once again to get people's personal data. At that time, as we all remember, AOL, America Online, that was the company that people used to access the newly created World Wide Web, now commonly known as the internet. So right from the start, these individuals figured out a way to utilize the internet for their own illegal gain. In the early 2000s, the phishing scams became a little more sophisticated. They began to utilize people's email accounts to send malware through attached documents in their email. And some of you may recall that the most notable phishing scam back during that time frame was this called the love bug scam. And people all around the world were receiving emails with the title of "I love you," and that made national news. The particular email scam contained an attached letter. And when you, the unsuspecting user, opened the attached letter, the malware automatically downloaded into their computer system and compromised all of your personal data that you stored on it. So today, as technology continues to evolve, phishing scams have also rapidly evolved, and they've become more varied in their approach, and they're potentially more dangerous than ever.
District Attorney Cruz, I'm hoping you can help me with this. I received an email from Amazon telling me that my Prime membership is up and that my card associated with my Prime account is no longer valid. It wants me to update my card or add a new card to the account. Do you know if this is a scam?
I'm really
or
glad
is
you,
it real?
yeah, no, I'm really glad you asked that question because this is most likely a scam. It's what they call a spear phishing scam. And so you ask, what's spear phishing? I think you fish your head somebody throwing a spear through a fish when they're out in the middle of the ocean. But spear phishing happens to be the most successful type of a phishing scam. Because unlike a phishing scam that targets random people, a spear phishing scam targets a specific person. So it's a more in-depth version of phishing in that it requires an attacker to have special knowledge about their target. Spear phishing attacks account for 91% of all phishing attacks. Spear phishers are going to gather public information on their target from the content that's been posted about that person on various social media sites, dating apps, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, apps like that. They're going to use this information. The spear fisher is going to be able to pose as a friend, a familiar entity such as Amazon, and they're going to be able to send convincing but fraudulent messages to their target. To increase their success rate, these messages often contain urgent explanations as to why they need your sensitive information. During the pandemic, we've seen an increase in spear phishing emails that have malware incorporated into them. These emails often contain misleading information and false links. So for example, the Amazon email scam that you just asked about, you receive an email from Amazon stating that your Amazon Prime subscription is about to expire and couldn't be renewed due to the fact there was something wrong with the credit card associated with your account, with an urgent message that your credit card needs to be updated, or a new card needs to be added to renew the subscription. Most people would think that looks legit and they would click on the link. Why wouldn't you, right? I mean, the Amazon logo is there. It says from box on the top of the email, states it from Amazon, it's from Amazon Prime, but you need to be alert. The email contains an urgent type of message. It's telling you that the credit card associated with this account needs to be updated or replaced. A great way to determine whether or not this email is fraudulent and is a scam is to double click on the word Amazon Prime in the from box to see what an email address pops up. If it's a weird looking email address and that's the display, it's most definitely a scam. If an email address pops up that looks like it's from Amazon, still be careful, be wary. These phishers are expert at what they do, and they know how to spoof an email to make it look like it's legitimate. Always keep in mind that any link contained in this email is probably malware, which has been designed to specifically steal your personal information that you enter into the form that they have supplied to you. A few of the spear phishing scams we've seen here in Plymouth County contain and pertain to Amazon, Comcast, Netflix, Facebook. They're landing in all of our email boxes.
So I have a question for you, DA Cruz. I recently received a text message stating that I had a package being delivered, and the text had a tracking code and a link to set up delivery options. Is that legit?
Yeah, Joanne, we've received a lot of reports like this. And this is, once again, it's a deviation of a phishing scam, which utilizes our cell phone's SMS, the text messaging system, and it's called smishing. Smishing is the act of committing text message fraud to try and lure victims into revealing account information or personal information, or to have the victim click on a link on a downloaded malware onto their smartphone or another internet-connected personal device. The text message will often contain a link to a fraudulent website, which is going to ask the victim to enter personal information or login credentials. It can be really confusing now because people are doing an awful lot of shopping online.
Right.
And a legitimate company is going to inform you of your shipping and delivery options at the time that you place your order. So they may legitimately alert you and say, hey, your package is scheduled to be delivered on a certain date, or it has been delivered, but they are not going to send you a text to set up a delivery. That's done before. So a lot of people have reported they received these smishing texts from FedEx, UPS, Post Office, and Amazon. Each of these smishing texts have a similar message. They state that the package is en route, but a delivery time needs to be set up. The text, once again, looks legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
The link brings you to a page with the company's logo. It asks you to log in to set up a delivery time. The text may also contain that tracking code for the package, which gives the appearance of security and lends credibility to the message. This type of scam is very difficult to detect, and we all have to be on guard because, once again, you may have just coincidentally ordered something online and you just assume it's related to that purchase.
Mhm.
However, if you click on the link for a delivery setup and it brings you to a form that asks for your personal or financial information, be alert and immediately click out of it. This is malware. It's designed for the sole purpose to steal your information. Remember, you've already ordered that item. The legitimate company already has your information. They don't need it again.
Okay.
I
District
can see
Attorney
how
Cruz.
easy it would be to get tricked.
Yeah.
You know?
I received a voicemail from the IRS telling me that there was something wrong with my tax return. And if I don't call back, there will be a warrant for my arrest. I checked my caller ID and a call from the IRS was there. Is this legitimate? Will I really be arrested?
Marie, this is definitely a scam. We've all gotten the IRS calls. You usually get them 4 or 5 at a time. Is on my voicemail. You'll get them there, and there's somebody on that phone that's screaming at you. This one, once again, this spam. This is phishing with a V for voicemail phishing. And right now, we all need to be extra vigilant about these types of scams because they utilize, once again, our home phones, our cell phones, our voicemails. And the thing that we always have to remember is that these scammers are really good at what they do. They're professional thieves. They know how to talk you into things. About 3/4 of the fraud complaints reported to the Federal Trade Commission involve contact with consumers by telephone phishing. In reported phishing scams, the caller claims to represent many different entities: IRS, Medicare, Social Security Administration, financial institutions, credit card companies. There's always a frantic sense of urgency. Scammers are going to try to tap into your sense of fear, telling you there's a problem with your account or that you're going to be arrested. They're going to ask you for information to confirm who you are. They're going to ask you your name, your address, your date of birth, your social security number, your bank account info. They're going to try to trick you into thinking that they're legitimate. And they will already have some of this information. Their goal is to get the info they don't have. Don't be alarmed by their threat of arrest. I often tell people, and I'll tell you all right now, if you promise not to tell anybody, that this right now, the biggest secret in law enforcement is that when law enforcement is going to come and arrest you, they are not going to call you first. They're just coming. All right. So when you get this, no matter what the form may be, jury duty scams, IRS scams, all these different scams that are out there, they're trying to, once again, startle you and upset you so that you would do something that you don't normally do. And that's when we have to realize we have to keep our guard up.
Okay.
So unless you initiated, the request of the contact with these other things, these federal agencies that you're dealing with, whether the IRS or Social Security, the ones that you initiate the contact with, that's fine. But the other ones that contact you, they're not legit, and they're the ones that are trying to scare you. So if a legitimate organization is going to try to get in touch with you and look for information, it's going to come through certified mail. It's not going to come through somebody who's dishing over the phone.
Good, thank you.
Good information.
District Attorney Cruz, what should we do if we receive a phishing call?
Well, I mean, the simple answer is don't pick up the phone. We all, you let it go to voicemail. Caller IDs can be fake. You're never really sure who it is that's calling you. You probably see a phone number on your caller ID that looks like it's your number sometimes. I mean, they're spoofing our numbers all the time. And once again, they're pros. And studies show that the longer that if they get you on the phone, the longer they keep you on the phone, they're more likely than not to get something out of you. So if you pick up the phone and you realize that somebody's on there, and they start asking you questions, all you got to do is hang up. And if you pick up the phone and you receive a robocall, and if that contains an automated message, hang up. Don't ever press the buttons they ask you to press, and don't respond to their prompts. Even if the message states press 2 to be removed from this further list, or say yes to an operator, sometimes the scammers are going to use these tricks to identify potential targets for more robocalls. And they might even record your voice to use later. So just by saying yes or no, they may be trying to use your voice to activate other information that you can get when they're navigating voice automated photo lines. So remember, I know some people have said to me in the past, they think it's rude to hang up. And I often tell the story of the woman that, she thought it was rude to hang up. So she didn't like to hang up these people, but she picked the phone up, she'd talk to them. But she knew that they were scammers and they were trying to talk her into things. She would always do the same thing. She'd always pick up her Bible and she'd start reading the Bible to the people that are calling her. And eventually they hang up on her. So that's the way that she combated it. So I think that was a unique, certainly a way to do that. But if a person does continue to call or they provide a callback number, don't call it. If you want to verify the caller's ID, call that company's official public number and ask to speak to that individual. If it's a scam, he's not going to be there. He or she's not going to be there. And if you haven't done so already, please sign up for the Do Not Call registries, both with the state and the national registries. You can add your home phone number, your cell phone number. It's free. It tells telemarketers that you don't want their phone calls. Scammers are always trying to stay a step ahead and figure out a way around the blocks. That's why, as I go around the county, people will tell me, gee, I signed up for that, but they're still getting through. That's why you always have to renew them both, at least every year, because that way you can renew and try to stop the newer individuals who are trying to get in. There's always going to be certain types of organizations that are going to call you, such as political organizations or charities. Those entities are exempt from the do not call list. So you're not going to be able to stop those, unfortunately, but you will be able to stop other ones.
So District Attorney Cruz, I heard unemployment scams are on the rise in Massachusetts. Are these types of phishing scams as well?
The unemployment fraud scam is here. And as you and I talk to each other, you're looking at one of the victims. They've gotten my information. They've gotten people's in my office information, and you too. Yeah. So we've all of us are victims to that unemployment scam. And we're all notified by our HR people that regarding what's going on in our office. It was the same thing. The applications kept coming to the DA's office. I know the same thing happened to the sheriff. I mean, it's all of us. So don't feel special, Joanne. We're all being targeted. Okay?
I don't want to be special.
Up until the moment that we were contacted by HR, we didn't know. We had no idea that our information was compromised and it was being used to try to initiate fraudulent complaints and claims. But some of our targeted employees actually received some of the stuff from the Division of Unemployment regarding their unemployment benefits, with information on how to join the Health Connector or a flyer for mass hires. It appears it's a business-related phishing scam, and it's known as an advanced persistent threat, APT, advanced persistent threat. APT is a broad term used to describe an attack campaign in which an intruder or a team of intruders establish a long-term presence on a company or organization's network in order to mine highly sensitive data and information. In many cases, the spear phishing attacks on employees are used as a first step in an APT attack on a specific company or organization. Employees are targeted and compromised in order to bypass the security perimeters. This enables these hackers to distribute malware onto the organization's servers and gains access to all their privileged secure data. In the unemployment scam, which is a national scam, it's believed that the scammers use stolen personal information from previous data breaches of large companies to file for these fraudulent benefits. Organizations that we've all heard of, Experian, TJ Maxx, Marriott, Twitter, a lot of these companies have been victims of data breach, which for these companies, it means that their clients and their consumers' personal information has been compromised, released, and it's no longer secure. And unfortunately, once this information is out there, it's like trying to get the toothpaste back in the tube. It just doesn't work that easy. Unfortunately for all of us, and that means a lot of us, if not all of our personal information, including our social security numbers, have been compromised, and they could be in the hands of scammers. So as a result of this scam, the Division of Unemployment Assistance has begun additional identity verification, and we're going to temporarily delay the payment for the time frame for money unemployment claims in Massachusetts. So people who legitimately are trying to get their benefits are going to be delayed because of all the investigations that the Division of Unemployment has to do because of all the thieves that are out there.
Okay. District Attorney Cruz, what should I do if I become a victim of the unemployment scam?
Yeah, great question, Marie. If you receive a letter from either your HR director or the Department of Unemployment Assistance and Labor and Workforce Development that states that a claim for unemployment benefits has been made in your name and you didn't file the claim, you need to report it right away. The HR director will report the fraud on their end, but you have to report it on your end. In Massachusetts, a person would report the fraud on the mass.gov website. There's a link on the homepage, and that's going to bring you to the online form. You're also going to need to run a credit check on yourself. In Massachusetts, you're entitled to one free copy of your credit report from each company for a total of 3 times a year. So you can request a free copy by contacting one of these 3 credit reporting companies, either by phone or on the web. And once again, the information is also on the DA's office website, PlymouthDA.com. Anything I talk about, any numbers, any websites, anything you may need, go to PlymouthDA.com. They'll be able to direct you to the right avenue. But they're going to hook you up with Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, their phone numbers, their websites. And you should, because of the fact you get 3 a year for free, you should request one of these every 4 months. So that means that you request one from Equifax in January, and 4 months later, in April, you can request one from Experian, and then 4 months later in August, one from TransUnion. That way, you're going to be able to see throughout the year if any new accounts have been opened in your name. And also, while you're on one of these 3 credit reporting companies, you should file a fraud report with them. Request that a fraud alert be placed in your credit report. The fraud alert's not going to freeze your accounts, but it will alert financial institutions and credit card companies that your personal information has been compromised and that your identity needs to be verified before a new account is opened in your name. That step's very important. With this unemployment scam, the scammers have been known to open up accounts in the victims' names and have the benefits direct deposited into that fake account, and you may not know anything about it. So for your protection, do that. File a fraud report with the Federal Trade Commission. A link to that reporting page can also be found on their homepage, ftc.gov.
District Attorney Cruz, how can we protect ourselves from these phishing scams? There seem to be so many.
No, you're right, Candy, there are. There's an awful lot of them. And unfortunately, I'm sure there's a lot more to come. To protect yourself from being victimized, I'm urging everybody to stay vigilant and always be suspicious. If you receive one of these emails or one of these texts and you're still not sure or not whether it's legit, then I encourage you, get out of that email, get out of that text, immediately go online and pull up the business website where you made the purchase from, or that's reflected in the text message, and check its validity. So for example, if you're referring to that Amazon scam that we spoke about earlier, you go online to Amazon.com, sign into your account using the login section on their website, go into their settings, and under the category of your account, select your account or recent purchases. This is a safe and secure way to determine if that email or text message is fraudulent, because if there really is an issue with your account, order, or delivery schedule, it's going to be reflected there. When in doubt, make the call. If the content of the email, text, letter, or voicemail that you received is concerning, call the company listed in the correspondence to find out if it in fact was sent legitimately. If it wasn't, that company is now aware and can take action to warn other customers of the potential phishing attempts that appear to be coming from their company. So stop and think a moment as to why you received this correspondence and think whether or not it makes sense. Vigilance is key. Spoof messages often contain mistakes that expose its real identity, such as spelling errors or weird-looking links. Watch what personal information you put online also. Take a look at your online profile. How much personal information is available for potential scammers to view? If there's anything that you don't want a scammer to see, then I urge you, do not post it. Make sure you configure your privacy settings on each site to limit what others can see. Check these settings regularly to make sure that a glitch during an update hasn't changed them. Have smart passwords. Don't just use one password, a variation of that password for every account you own. And listen, I know we're all guilty of this. It's easy for us. I mean, you're gonna, who can remember? Who can write down? Who can keep changing? It's really hard to remember the passwords. So I understand that. But it also, if you only have one, it makes it easier for the scammer to access all of your accounts. So, and as we all know, if they have access to your accounts, it's the equivalent of giving them the key to your house. So store all your passwords in a safe spot. A lot of phones have password keepers that you can use with your fingerprint or your face ID to open them. These password keepers list your sites and passwords in alphabetical order, making them easy to retrieve and keeps them secure. Every password you have, I hate to say this, but every password you have should be different from the rest. Passwords with random phrases, numbers, and letters are the most secure. Also, we have to frequently update our phone and our apps. If your provider notifies you that there's a new update it right away. The majority of these updates include a security update that will help protect you from common attacks. So whenever possible, enable automatic updates. And we all know that being the victim of a scam can sometimes be embarrassing, and that you can feel vulnerable as a result of it. And a lot of us have fallen prey to it. But we have to always remember to use extreme caution, especially when we're dealing and relinquishing personal or financial information over the phone, online, person, email, text, it doesn't really matter. But probably the most important thing we can do is if you do get scammed or if you know somebody that's been scammed, is we have to contact the local police and we have to report it to the FTC. And although, like I said, I know that it can be embarrassing, it's the most important thing we can do for all of our friends in our community so we can get the word out as to that scam so that somebody else won't fall into the same trap. Remember, these people are good at what they do and they're good at getting your information and they're coming after all of us. So in a moment of weakness, it could certainly happen to any of us.
Well, thank you, District Attorney Cruz, for taking time to speak with us today. This is really important and great information. You're such a valuable resource to the Senior Center and the senior community. Is there someplace our viewers can go to get some additional information regarding the resources you offered today?
Absolutely, Joanne. And once again, go onto our website, PlymouthDA.com. We have everything right there. Like I said, I talk fast, unfortunately, and I have a lot of information out there. And you want to be able to, in a position where you're going to be able to get that when you need it. So it's pretty easy, PlymouthDA.com. So I just want to thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Candy, for coming on today. I think it's great to be able to share this information and prevent things because it's so difficult like I said, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's very difficult to put it back in. So thanks so much for having me. Everybody continue on and be safe as we get through the pandemic. We'll get through it soon enough.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yep. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank DA Cruz once again for being with us and being part of the Senior Safety Series. And of course, Marie and Candy, I thank you so much for being our co-host on this show today and asking such insightful questions. I would like to thank all our viewers at home for watching us today. This wraps up this episode of Senior Safety, and we look forward to seeing you soon again.
Okay, bye.